You are being microwaved. Will I be killed for making these videos? Stay tuned to find out. The purpose of this video is to offer some lifestyle changes to those people who have had or having serious health complications that are attributed to microwave communications exposure, intentional exposure. Just like, if you read the first 3 links in my videos, just like the US government employees that were microwaved at close range on US soil. Now, that same equipment is on every single satellite, and I and many others who are far more credible and educated than myself have said that that equipment on satellites, on the 5,000 plus satellites that are orbiting the Earth, is being used to create the same type of health effects. Now, the reason why I was so serious on the employees is because it is now believed to be at very close range and very high power. It was basically like hot rodding a cell phone tower dish, basically taking that dish, wiring up a very powerful power supply to it, and pointing it at US government employees, trying to kill them, let's just be honest with you. And it almost worked, and it caused permanent injury to a number of people, and has over several years in Cuba and in China, and now here on US soil. It has come home. This is as serious as it gets. So those are words to somebody who may have stumbled on this video to try to help them kind of learn and motivate them to do something about it. So I'll move very quickly into what people can do about it if they've already accepted and understand this fact. And this is going to be about lifestyle changes. You're going to have to get rid of your smartphone. Unfortunately, and because the phone is essentially a tracking device, right? It has GPS on it. Whether this is being hacked into, other nations' satellites are using the GPS system or hacking into your phone to use it as a locator. But when you use a smartphone and you're a targeted individual or someone with these serious complications, that phone is a tracking device. It's a targeting device. You're going to have to get rid of it. I'm sorry. And I'm going to go a little bit and do a little conceptual thinking and a little hypothesizing here, and point out that it also seems, which is a little harder to explain, that the closer you are to other people's smartphones, the worse the symptoms are. That if you move to a rural, less densely populated area, that the symptoms decrease. Now, that may be because the satellite system, they are launched and designed to go over, obviously you put your money where the people are, to go over populated areas if you really want to microwave them and hurt them. Perhaps it's because the system is less robust. But as I've kind of hypothesized for a while, if you can control microwave wireless communications, you can hack into the devices, and the devices are transceivers themselves. So are they being used essentially like nodes to irradiate and attack people? The farther you get from smartphones, the better off you're going to be. Avoid alcohol. You're going to be, maybe consuming even small amounts of alcohol at night are going to change the way you sleep and make you more susceptible to the exposure and the intentional attacks on you. They're going to come oftentimes at night, most often at night, because you are still, you're not moving, and the brain, which is what they're really attacking, and the body are more susceptible. Basically, they can't, it's easier to produce the ill effects when you use it on someone while they're sleeping. It causes all kinds of problems, including, as my other videos have said, what they're passing off now is narcolepsy, waking up, extreme nightmares, hallucinations when waking. Those are satellite communications exposure symptoms. Move if you can, as I said to the last point. Get away from densely populated areas. Lay off the alcohol, move, stay away from your smartphone. And the biggest thing, and I probably should have said it first, is knowledge. Once you understand that the system exists, that the technology exists, it's decades old, we know that. Once you accept that humans would, a foreign government that hates us would use it to attack us, then it becomes less beneficial, because then instead of you wondering what's going on and you're in this cycle of why do I feel this way? Why am I struggling with these symptoms? Once you understand what this cause of the symptoms are, you can move forward. And that would be like anything. Like if you went to the doctor and you couldn't give you an answer, and they're not going to give you an answer if you go to the doctor with this, because they're just going to kind of shrug their shoulders and are going to give you basic tests. They're going to determine that there's no underlying cause for all this. And then you're just going to say, I don't know, and give you some pills and send you home. Because the medical community as a whole has not accepted this yet. And don't be too mad at them, because it took them 60 years to pick up on the fact that HIV even existed or was killing people. Literally, it was 60 years. They went back and they realized, well, this is the first death of HIV was in 1920, and they didn't know what to look for. And, people were dying from it. Tuberculosis is a great example from another one of my videos. Even after germ theory came out, the medical community that was the treatment for tuberculosis, they called it consumption because they believed that your dead relatives were rising from the grave in the middle of the night and then coming to you and consuming your body because it looked like you were wasting away. That's what they believed. And when germ theory came out and people understood that it was microorganisms causing this, the doctors who were making money digging up their dead relatives and staking them down in their graves, which is where vampire lore comes from. They literally would roll them over and put a wooden stake through them because they thought that would stop them from rising from the grave. These are all facts. And this wasn't that long ago, right? So doctors, they make mistakes. They are hesitant to change. And let's be honest with you, they're getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies. And the more pills they push, the better off they are. I love that Chris Rock joke. There's no money in the cure. There's only money in the comeback. They're still mad at all the money they lost on polio. You know what I'm saying? There's no financial incentive for them to fix or solve anything or get to the problem of it. And that ties into political issues as well, right? A doctor's not going to want to speak out because he's could be blacklisted. People will be like, what are you talking about? Really? Mike, something I can't see is causing people to get sick? Yeah, like germs were. And when people said germs were causing people to get sick, they said, yeah, right, some invisible thing. We've been here before, right? People don't want to accept it. It's new. It's hard to understand. It's difficult to accept. It could potentially damage someone's career if they were to say this. And furthermore, they'll make more money by not addressing it. So they're not going to. This video is getting into a couple of other things, but I always like to try to back this up with, history and, human history and fact. Same thing why Congress isn't acting on this thing, because it's a hot potato. They call it. Ron Wyden tried to get his colleagues involved, and they called it a hot potato issue because they don't want to deal with it. And if they think they bring it up, it's gonna make them look weird. So clearly they're, more focused on getting reelected than they are about protecting Americans, or there would be no such thing as a hot potato issue. Now, if there were term limits in Congress, we wouldn't have this problem. We wouldn't have a lot of problems, but that's another conversation. So, again, it's really about knowledge and understanding and getting rid of doubt, getting rid of fear. The system feeds on fear and it feeds on doubt, and these lifestyle changes and understanding and knowing how it works will help you minimize the effects. I think that's pretty much it. 8 minutes, not bad. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe. I really could use the support. I want to keep making these videos. I'm going to keep making these videos because I care about you and I want to help. And I'm just another salesman of this information. And eventually we will reach critical mass. And people will learn and people will accept, just like they did with germ theory, just like they did with new diseases like HIV. It just takes some time. So you got to be strong. You got to hold strong. You got to stay the course. 1,000 points of light. Not at this juncture. Terrible George Bush impression. Big up to Dana Carvey. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Maybe a little comedy in there. If that wasn't funny, just laugh at me. Thanks for watching.